So guys, can we have a round of applause for Kym Huynh of WeTeachMe? Okay, so Kym, let's go back in time a little bit. So going from, that passion, that idea, and wanting to obviously grow that, how do you get to obviously being the largest school in Australia?
That's a good question. How far back are we going, Wayne?
So before you and the founders got together of WeTeachMe, what were you up to then?
Earlier there was a question that Cheryl posed, which was, when you're 8, what was it that you dreamed of? And funnily enough, when I was 8, my mum had me there in front of her and she said, Kym, you tell me, what are you going to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And because I was 8, I did not know that that was a trick question. And I said to her, I want to swim with dolphins. I want to spend the rest of my life swimming with dolphins. And she gave me a big smack and she said, you're going to be a lawyer, Kym. And so that's what happened. I became a lawyer.
How long did that last for, Kym?
That lasted for about 3 years. But the reason why I tell this story is, growing up, I had always done what I thought was right. Go study hard at school, get into a good university, study hard at university, get into a good law firm. And it wasn't that I didn't hate law, but at the end of that process, I just felt so exhausted. Does anyone ever feel like when they work so hard at something, by the end of it, you feel like you have nothing left? You have like that maybe red tank. That's how I felt. And so I said to my family, I'm booking a one-way ticket to South America, and that's what I did. And at that time, that was a huge scandal for my family. They said, what are you doing in South America? I said, I don't know, I'm not lawyering. Anyway, I was over there, and when I was over there, I met up with some friends. We were on the beach the whole day, and then we got a call from one of my close friends, and he said, hey, you need to come out to my lake house. I know it's a 3 or 4 hour drive, but just get in the car, get up here, and let's just spend quality time together. So we all jumped in the car, of course, and we drove. And this was after spending a whole day at the beach. You get sunstroke, you're tired, and then we just had one driver driving the whole day. When we got up to the mountainous region where his lake house was, it was about 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, dark, it was raining, it was stormy, we're up in the mountains, potholes everywhere. And I remember at that time thinking, oh my God, I'm not feeling very safe right now. And I remember reaching out to touch my friend's shoulder like that. I was in the back of the car. And I was going to say, hey, maybe we should just slow down and just take it easy. And at that point, I kid you not, the car hit a pothole, it swerved, and then drove off a cliff. And in that moment, I was in the back of the car, and as the car was going over the cliff, everything just slowed down. In the movies, where everything slows down, that's what happened. And half of me was thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And the other half was thinking, wow, this really happens. Like in the movies, it's kind of cool, but not. So anyway, what happened was I was thinking about key moments in my life that were meaningful to me, key important people, my mum, my dad, my little sister, my best friend. And I remember just trying to grab all those memories and just try to send it back to them. And the only thought that I had in my mind was, I am so sorry this is how it ends, but I love you, and I want you to know how much I love you. The car hit a tree, fell over, and then black. I didn't remember anything else. Long story short, we somehow woke up. Everything was kind of working, but my arm was just mangled. I tried to move it that way and it would go that way. And we got to the hospital. They flew in a team of surgeons from Argentina. I stayed in South America for another 2 or 3 months to recover from that surgery. Then I came back to Australia and spent the next 2 years recovering and regaining all that strength. And it was bizarre, but sometimes I think that when traumatic things like that happen in our lives, and for me, that was my traumatic moment, it was almost like I woke up a little bit and I said, you know what, our lives are so short. Things can happen through no fault of our own. We might be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and then something can hit you and that's it. And I said, you know what, I do not want to spend an iota of time doing something unless I was incredibly passionate about it. And so I left the law, something which I didn't hate, but I wasn't passionate about it. And I started WeTeachMe, because I really believe in this idea that Learning is something which you carry with you for the rest of your life, and it's one of those things that no one can ever take away from you without your consent. And I think in life you can lose your job, you can lose your house, you can lose the clothes on your back, but you're never going to lose the knowledge that's in your head. And with that knowledge you can always start again. And that's why I left the law.
Mm-hmm. And how did your parents react to that then? So obviously I know a little bit about you, and obviously your parents have pushed you on to be the person that you are today. And how did they then take to your ideas of WeTeachMe?
Mum cried a lot. I think for the next few years she cried a lot, and she still told all her friends that I was a lawyer. But you know, I think about it, and when I reflect on it, I realize that I think it mostly comes from a place of just wanting to know that I'm going to be okay. Because I think WeTeachMe is a technology company, right? It's a website. And for people older than our generation, it's a very abstract concept. You know, when you talk about it, you say, well, I can't really show you a product that we've created. I can't really show you something tangible, but I do have a business card and an email address that I can email you with. But I think after my family saw what I was doing, the people I was associating with, all the wins that we were getting on the board, they really got behind me and really supported it.
Yeah. And you talk a little bit about the people that you're working with and associating with. Can you shed a little bit about on the experiences you had when the founders got together? So you didn't know some of those people beforehand, but you did know Demi as well. So can you shed some light on that for us, please?
So Demi is my best friend, and in university, you know, when you're in university, you have so much time, you spend every day together. That's what we did. And after we graduated and got jobs, we realized that I was a lawyer, she was a journalist, and we realized that we didn't really see each other much anymore. And we said, this kind of sucks. Let's find an excuse to spend a lot of time together. And business just happened to be a really good excuse to spend a lot of time together. And that's been an incredible journey. I count myself as incredibly lucky and fortunate that I get to spend every day with my best friend. And sure, it does get tiring, it does get stressful, the relationship does get tested, but overarching all of that is this overwhelming sense of gratitude and how lucky and fortunate I am that I get to work on something which I'm incredibly passionate about, something which aligns with who I am as a person, something which works, and I just get to hang out with people I want to be around with.
Yeah, excellent. And if you think to those early days of WeTeachMe and obviously getting your passion out there and communicating, how did you go about that to the masses? How did you communicate your passion?
That's a difficult question. I believe that when you start a business, you have to know how to sell, right? If you don't sell, you don't have a business, or if you don't sell, your business doesn't grow. And I would not count myself as a natural salesman. I've never done sales in my life. Oh my God, the first time I did sales, I remember this story so vividly. I had started doing websites for law firms, just for fun. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna do a sales call. So I'm in my car in Oakley, after I had gotten a Suvalaki. Demi is in the seat next to me and she goes, Kym, you can do this. And I said, yes, I can. Picked up the phone, called up a law firm, and I said, hi, I can build websites for you. He said, no, you can't, good luck, hung up on me. And that traumatized me, Wayne. You have no idea how crushed I was. I was as crushed as when I watched The Red Wedding in Game of Thrones. It literally traumatized me for 2 years. After that, I did not cold call ever again. I am not a natural salesman, but with WeTeachMe, it was interesting because WeTeachMe hits on who I am and my core values. That I don't really need to sell it. All I need to do is just talk about the why. Why am I passionate about WeTeachMe? Why am I passionate about learning? Why am I passionate about education? And why did I start WeTeachMe? And I have found with the first 100 customers, they bought into me. They didn't buy into WeTeachMe or the company or the product or the service. They bought into me. Because when I stood in front of them and I said, you know what, my parents left Vietnam as refugees after the Civil War. They left their community. They went to a place where they could not speak the language, did not understand the social norms. They rebuilt their entire lives. And I have seen firsthand how they took their learning and invested in their learning and changed not only their lives, but also the lives of their families that they brought over and then the community around there. It's just, I believe in learning and how it transforms your life, your family's life, and your community's life. And that clicks, that moment, you see it in people's eyes when they know that you're speaking from something which you truly believe in, and then they buy into you. And it's when I cottoned on to that, it just became super easy. I'm not selling, I'm just telling you a story about why I'm passionate about what I'm working on.
Excellent. And still in those early days of WeTeachMe, obviously there's the products and the service that you're offering. How did that change, and how did that shape how the company, how it is today?
The product has definitely changed. When we first launched the website, oh my God, this was our biggest mistake, and it was so painful to make. We created a website that we thought we wanted to use. So we had this idea that if we created a website called WeTeachMe.com, and we listed all these classes, how to speak Spanish, how to bake, how to make wine, that we thought a flood of people would just come and buy courses and we'd retire. Because this was at the time that Mark Zuckerberg's movie, or the movie about Facebook, the social network, came up, and I looked at it and I said to Demi, I said, look what he did in 2 hours, right? If we're gonna, imagine what we can do in a year. That's what I said. So we spent a year designing and developing this website. We launched it and no one used it. And we would look at each other and I'd say, well, maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow someone will use it. Tomorrow would come, no one would use it. Well, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. And we did that for about 3 months. And eventually we got to a point where we said, either we give up or we go back and we do it properly and we start again. And that was an incredibly painful lesson to learn.
And it was also listening to the vendors that you were working with, and that also then the next product was born out of the fact that they wanted a solution to some of their other problems.
Exactly. So then we picked up the phone and called Cheryl from Cupcake Central, our first customer. And we said, well, tell me about your headaches and how can we help you? And from those conversations really gave seed to WeTeachMe and what it is today. And it changes every single year. But what has remained constant is the reason why we started WeTeachMe, which is our passion about learning, sparking that curiosity for learning, that passion for education. That's always remained constant.
And some of these passions come across in our values as well. So can you shed a little bit of light about the values of WeTeachMe and how that drives business decisions on a daily basis?
That's a great question. The values, this is I believe one of the most exciting things about starting your own business and growing your own business is that you get to create the world as you see it. You get to instill it with the values that are important to you, and you get to fill it with people who align with your values. So in every single team member that we bring on board, or every single thing that we celebrate, or who we fire people, it's always based on values. And what I have found is that when your values are very clear and very simple, 3 to 5, anymore it's too complex, it really provides a benchmark for people to make decisions. So this customer is giving me a hard time, how do I respond? Well, let's look at our values. What does it say? Be true to your word, be honest, over deliver. And it kind of gives you that goalpost on what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, excellent. So WeTeachMe, it's come a long way in the last 5 years. What does the future hold for WeTeachMe?
There's an infographic that floats around that says new companies, the biggest taxi company in the world doesn't have cars. The biggest hotel company in the world doesn't have physical hotels or buildings. I would like WeTeachMe to be up there. The biggest school in the world doesn't have physical campuses. I think that now more than ever, we have this opportunity to access incredible talent. We have this opportunity and all these amazing tools, which are often free. It's insane that we can use to create our businesses or create software or create prototypes. We have access to incredible founders who are experienced, who often have already achieved what we want to achieve. I truly believe that there is no excuse to not go out there and just try something that you're incredibly passionate about. What's the worst that can happen, right? For me, if WeTeachMe doesn't work, then I can go back and be a lawyer.
Yeah, at the end of the day you can. So Kym, we're actually running out of time, actually, so we're going to have to wrap that up there. But I'd like to thank you for sharing your passions. That's very infectious for me, not only sat here, but also on a day-to-day basis working with Kym. So thank you very much. So guys, can we have a round of applause for Kym Huynh of WeTeachMe?